Well, what an afternoon this guy had for the DC Defenders, winning the game in walk-off fashion against the Arlington Renegades in Week 9. He is a third-year pro, former three-year starter for the Florida Gators. DC receiver Josh Hammond. Josh, thanks for joining us today, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Right off the top, you've been grinding all year. I had a tweet out where I was like, this guy has watched Lucky Jackson and Chris Blair have their moment and
Yeah,
just been waiting in the wings, right? We
yeah,
knew you were one of the top receivers on this team. How did it
right.
feel to go out there and have a day where it was about you for once?
It felt good. All year, we're not really big on who's getting the ball. Whichever way the ball swings, it swings, and it just happened to swing my way on Sunday, and I was able to make plays and help us come out with a win.
I got asked, what was running through your head in overtime there? Obviously, shootout style. They started to do that in college, but I think that was probably you were in school maybe before they started to do that in college football. So with the new rules, what's running through your head knowing, hey, Jordan's probably looking my way here, so I might win
Yeah.
this?
Uh, well, I mean, I guess there's nothing really going through my head. It's just kind of just staying in the moment, staying focused on, my assignment, making sure that we're all on the same page at wideout, and just trying to make plays when the ball comes my way. It's kind of simple. Going into overtime, we weren't really expecting it. I had already unstrapped my shoulder pads, but then they had the whole challenge thing and get back on the field, and just being able to go out and make plays, and when the ball comes my way, make something happen with it.
Yeah, I saw Coach Barlow was fired up. I think Greg Williams was halfway to the locker room. And he's
Yeah,
like, hey, we need the defense.
yeah,
And a lot of the fans left. I understand when you're in the stadium, you're
right,
not seeing what we're seeing on the broadcast, right? Because that's all
right,
happening on TV. So that's tough.
right.
And but how did that feel when you scored to win it? I know obviously you still got a good reaction from the crowd. Obviously, you've had some great reactions in the swamp in your
Right.
career. What did that feel like for you to get your moment as far as walking off knowing that you just single-handedly with the rest of your teammates clinched a home playoff game? How'd that feel?
Right. No, it definitely felt amazing. Our crowd is amazing. We appreciate them coming out, every week, every time we have a home game and showing up and, definitely giving us a home field advantage. So we love going there. We enjoy it. We're super stoked to have this playoff game come back in, not this weekend, but next weekend. And, just excited to go out there and put on a show for them.
If you guys have promised playoff football back in the district, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
Going to this week, I want to know what has kind of the approach been in practice. Obviously, there's this narrative in the media that, DC has nothing to play for. I say you have an extra $1,000 in your pocket to play for if you win. And there's a lot on the line here, right? It's more
Yeah.
than just, oh, we got to rest the starters. Obviously, you guys want to get as much film as you can out of this
Right.
thing. What would you say about that? Has the mentality changed at all in practice this week?
No, not at all. We have a 51-man roster, 45 plays. So even if we were to try to sit some starters, we would only be able to sit six. So that was never a thought, just based on, the amount of guys we have. It's literally physically impossible. We're just looking at it as a way to go out, execute, try to get some momentum swinging for us as we get ready for our playoff game the following week.
I want to talk a little bit about your time with the Jacksonville Jaguars and what it was like to maybe play in your home state, not too far away from the swamp where you played in college and also in high school. What was that experience like? And obviously recording your first action in the NFL?
It was amazing. My time in Jacksonville was very special to me. Being able to be so close to home, able to have my family come visit, at will, and just being able to interact with some people because a lot of people who are also Gator fans are also Jaguar fans. So being in the city itself, a lot of people will recognize me, and I loved it a lot. I love the city of Jacksonville. I actually bought a house there and everything, so I was super excited to be there.
That's awesome. A lot of people might not know your older brother, Frankie, also played in the NFL. Did watching him kind of go through some of the same things that you dealt with in your draft process, do you feel like that better prepared you for kind of navigating the whole NFL draft?
100%. I think having him go through everything he went through from college, NFL, draft, his whole process, me watching it as a, young child coming up, seeing all the things he might have did wrong or the things he did right, I can kind of follow his path or be like, okay, I shouldn't do it this way. I should do it this way because, he kind of messed up going on that path. So just having him go through it and then me being able to just follow in his footsteps and kind of take the same path, it definitely helped me a lot and put me on the right path.
Obviously, the NFL draft coming up. I always felt like guys who came out in your class really dealt with more adversity than a lot of other guys have to. You're in the middle of COVID. It's the worst timing possible. What would you say to the guys that are in the draft class now? Maybe don't have to deal. Well, they definitely don't have to deal with that as much as you did. What would your
Mm-hmm.
advice be to maybe like a Florida Gator that's coming out this year, and maybe one thing you would have changed or one thing you would have done better in your process?
Well, my process was kind of hectic. I didn't really get a shot to do anything, so I never even got a chance per se to do anything a certain type of way or this way because COVID hit. Mid
Right.
February, late February. My pro day was the end of March. I didn't get a combine invite, so basically I just been training for everything to kind of get shut down. But I would just tell guys to kind of just stay in the moment. I think a lot of time guys get too worried about like I have to run this specific time. I have to jump this weight. Do this many reps on bench rather than just focusing on what's the task at hand that day. And I think if you just stay in the moment and focus on whatever you're doing that day, I think everything will pay off.
Obviously, Gator fans super passionate about football. I hope some of them find this interview. What were some of your favorite moments in the swamp, and how do they compare to being in the XFL and having that game-winning moment, right? Because that's a pretty big play in your pro career. What are some of your favorites in college that you can remember?
Uh, Favorite college careers? I think I have two. One of them isn't me. One of them is Hail Mary to Tyree Cleveland,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah,
That one was kind of rowdy, and then
a little bit.
had the walk off jet sweep at Kentucky my senior year. That was kind of dope too. Not as much from a crowd experience because everybody kind of got quiet, um,
That's the
but
fun
just
part, right?
knowing that the game is over and just being able to walk off knowing that you kind of seal the deal for the guys.
So both of those on the road, I love that actually. That's perfect because it is like a chilling thing when you're standing in I mean, I'm a Penn State fan. I've seen it a few times where you're
Yeah.
standing around, you don't want to leave the stadium. Like I'm sure you
Uh,
guys are looking around and Tennessee fans are just, I think same thing with Kentucky fans, but
yeah.
playing in the
Well,
SEC is incredible. I want to know going to the XFL here. Have you personally been surprised by how effectively you guys have been able to throw the ball because I came in with the impersonation that Fred Keiss had a run first scheme. And
mhm.
obviously there was a lot of RPO action and short pass in it.
Right.
But there was a switch that you guys flipped at some point in the season
Right.
where this became a passing attack. Like this almost
Yeah.
became like the air raid. Like, what is the difference between and what happened in that transition?
I think it was more just what defenses were giving us. I think a lot of people at the beginning of the year respected our pass game and allowed us to try to run the ball, and we showed that we could run the ball really well if you let us. And then as we got on the back end of the year after we were running the ball kind of crazy, everybody's tried to load the box, and we had to rely on our pass game, and it's worked really well for us as well. So I think we're just kind of really balanced on taking what the defense gives us. We're never too greedy or anything. We kind of just go with the flow of the game, and Coach Kais does a good job of putting us in positions to be successful using, everybody, using both our quarterbacks, all of our wideouts, all of our tight ends, all of our backs, and playing to our skill sets.
Absolutely. And you guys in San Antonio this weekend, obviously, then back in the district for the playoff game. One more question here for you, Josh. I'm a big Defenders fan. I think that a lot of people have hopped on the bandwagon recently. We had the sellout, 18,000 people plus in that stadium, which is damn near full. What do the DC Defenders have to do to win an XFL championship this year?
I think we just got to stay focused and continue to keep our eye on the prize. Continue to stay in the moment. We got San Antonio this week, and then we'll see how this weekend plays out with St. Louis and Seattle, and then whichever one of those guys we get to play. Stay in the moment for that week, and then from there, all the marbles are on the table at that point, and just lock in for 2 weeks and try to bring this shit back to DC.
Josh Hammond with an excellent game in week 9, looking to keep the momentum rolling into the postseason. Thank you for joining us, man, here on Springball Boulevard. We wish you the best, and I'll be in San Antonio May 13th. We hope you guys are there, and we get to catch a little bit of confetti out of the air, you and me together.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Hey, appreciate that, Josh.